Now we are starting with the topic ethics in science. Ethics in science is the last topic of our module, that is research methodology in science. And today we are discussing about the topic scientific information and depositories. Before that, we should know aware about what is meant by ethics. Have you heard about the term ethics? Generally, the word ethics comes from a Greek word called ethika, which means character or custom. This is a branch of philosophy which mainly deals with a set of rules, standards, or norms that governs a human conduct or a human behavior. For more clearly, if we are doing a research or an experiment in science, we need to follow some rules. Okay, that the rules that we need to be followed will be discussed later. So this particular thing is constituting what is meant by ethics. And this ethics was first launched by UNESCO in 1998 as the Ethics in Science and Technology program, with the establishment of the World Commission on the Ethics of Scientific Knowledge and Technology. Okay, what is the need of this ethics in science? What we are doing this ethics in science? Ethics is generally concerned with reducing various kind of malpractices while we are doing an experiment or research. That generally includes the plagiarism. You may know that plagiarism is nothing but it's a copying of research work of previously established authors. We are just copying, or we are just thefting, or we are hoarding that data, or we are making some, we are cooking data. That means we are manually adding some data by means of our own personal thing. We are adding some data. Then we are denying the credit to collaborators as well as the colleagues. So all these malpractices, if we are doing all these malpractices in the field of scientific experiment, it will be a great problem to the scientific community. So for reducing these things, we are there arises a branch that is called ethics. We know that science should be always honest and transparent. So for making this, we have to follow these rules, which is generally established in this field of science, that is ethics. So let's move to the detail of this branch. What are the different areas which is coming under the purview of this science ethics? It generally includes the following, that is scientific information, knowledge sharing, reporting of scientific data, and publications. So whenever we are performing all these things in an experiment or research, we need to follow some things. Okay, so that we are discussing in the coming slides. So we are starting with the scientific information. Scientific information is nothing but it is information that is already established result or the concluded data of an experiment. And how can we access this scientific information? That is called a scientific information depository. So depositories means nothing but it is a sources of scientific, where we get these kinds of scientific information. Actually, the sources of scientific information or the depository scientific informations are classified into 4 different types. They are primary sources, secondary sources, tertiary sources, and digital sources. What is meant by primary sources? Primary sources are the first report of the original findings and ideas. It generally includes printouts or digitals, including peer-reviewed research papers, which is published in scholarly journal or periodicals. For me, more clearly, you may be knowing that some of the inventions, most of the inventions are generally published in various famous journals like Science, Current Science, Endemol, etc. If we are accessing this information directly from these journals or periodicals, we can call it as a primary source. Another one is called a PhD thesis. It is a dissertation produced by a person, and it can be a primary source because it is an original work done by a person. Then conference proceedings and technical reports. All these things are generally done by each individual. In the case of conference proceedings, within a conference, the person is generally presenting his findings. Okay, so and these findings will be published in conference proceedings. Okay, then technical report. Technical reports also similar to all these things. So if we are generally collecting this information from all these kinds of journals or dissertations or conference proceedings, we can call it as a primary source. And how we'll get primary source? In some cases, it's a great challenge for getting certain aspects of findings from those kinds of depositories. Actually, some persons are not willing to publish his findings into this kinds of platforms. So what we have to do that we have to communicate to the author for the request of that scientific journal. Only then we can access the paper or the thesis. Okay, then libraries are another thing. Libraries as well as another well organizations are also providing these kinds of scientific purpose. For example, INSDOC. INSDOC is the Indian National Scientific Documentation Center, and this is a premier organization center and a national laboratory which is coming under the CSIR Institute. Okay, it generally also provides some information and documentation services on both at the national as well as the international level. And apart from the PhD thesis, if we cannot access the PhD thesis from the individual, most of the libraries are keeping one copy of the PhD thesis. So, if we are visiting the university library, we can also get the reference of that particular PhD thesis. So, all these things are generally coming under primary sources. As the name indicates, it is the first report of the original findings and ideas. Then comes the secondary sources. Secondary sources are generally works which is based upon this primary sources. That means a person is generally producing findings mainly based upon the primary or depending upon the primary sources. It includes prints as well as digitals. For example, review papers. Review papers are those findings which is already done by a person. Then reference book. A reference book is also a book which is produced by persons. And then scientific dictionaries, glossaries, and encyclopedias, handbook and manuals, scientific magazines. So based upon all these things we are doing, so we are generally finding something new, which is called secondary sources. In secondary sources, we generally depends upon the primary sources. Okay. Then comes the tertiary sources. The tertiary sources generally includes the books as well as directories. For example, Birds of India, Medicinal Plants of India, all these things are famous books. So, if you are generally depending upon these books or directories for the new findings, this is called the tertiary sources. Then comes the digital sources. As the name indicates, the digital sources are those scientific information which is generally found in primary, secondary, and tertiary sources will be available in the form of digital format. It includes CD-ROMs, INSDOC, etc. INSDOC, I told you that it is an International Scientific Documentation Center, and it is actually it's a laboratory which is generally concerned with providing all kinds of this information in the form of digital format. Okay, if we are getting this information in the form of digital format, it is called digital sources. Another thing is InflibNet. You may be knowing that what is maybe InflibNet. That is information and library network. Within the colleges, you can see an InflibNet center in the library itself, where we can access different kinds of journals and all these things. The information, digital information, will be connected with the library network. Okay, this InflibNet is actually an autonomous inter-university center of University Grant Commission, and generally concerned with creating infrastructure for sharing of library information, resources, and services among the academic as well as other research institute. Okay, so that's all about the scientific depositories. I hope you understood. It's very simple. And if you have any doubt, please do in the comment section. Thank you.